Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. David De Gea officially has signed his new contract at Manchester United. It won't come as a surprise to many, but I think it should, because many of you are moaning, he's gonna go. And to be honest with you, I did go into this summer transfer window thinking he was gonna go, but it became very apparent very quickly that was not the case. And basically it was just going to come down to whether Manchester United would give him what he needs. I've got to say, first of all, you always should look up at Manchester United, and again I would say shame on the board. They shamed us in the transfer window by not bringing in sufficient midfielders and attackers, and yet again it would be wrong at a moment of positivity to say, why do we let these contracts run down? Ander Herrera left the club because we let a contract run down. Mata was basically a free agent before we gave him a new contract in the summer. Martial was into the final year when we gave him a contract. David De Gea in the final year of a contract. It disrupts the club, and I don't care what anybody says. Look at David De Gea against Leicester. Obviously knows that contract's there now. Looks more focused. Looks like he's never going to concede a goal. Look at David De Gea towards the end of last season. Looked unfocused, shaky, and not the David De Gea that we know. And there is a direct correlation between how you are valued by your employee and how you perform at your job. And obviously De Gea now will feel more valued, and I think we'll start seeing the De Gea of a couple of years ago again now. But Manchester United Football Club, it's shambolic how we recruit players. It's shambolic how we sell players for next to nothing. But the biggest thing that always irritates me is contract renewals. This is a player that's bloody, sweat blood for this club over the last 6 years. He's won Player of the Month more times. Well, he needs to get new cabinets. He's got it so many times. And yet we let a contract run down and say we're not going to give you 300 grand a week or 350 grand or whatever he's getting. Yet Alexis Sanchez, with no history of this football club, was given 400 grand a week. It's ridiculous. And I'm just glad that De Gea is staying. To bring it back to De Gea, I'm so glad that he's going to stay. Whether it's 5 years, 4 years plus 1, 5 years plus 2, whatever. The reality is he's not walking out the door in January or next summer. He is going to be at Manchester United. It's a long-term deal. And I don't care what anybody says, he's still in the top 3 goalkeepers in the world. And he can be the best goalkeeper in the world. We as a football club, and not we as fans or Ollie or anyone like that, we as a football club, i.e. the people who own the football club, have directly impacted on the poor form of David De Gea over the last year because of disruption around his contract. Now we've got him nailed down to a contract, I think we'll see the real De Gea again. So I'm very happy that we've got him. I've seen some fans saying, I'm a little bit disappointed, he's held us to ransom, we should have gone and got Oblak. And I'm like, wake up. Where's that Maxwell House? Wake up and smell the coffee again, because you're living in a dreamland. These are the same people who were saying to me in March when I said, it's ridiculous that Herrera's going. Herrera's not that good. There's better players out there we can replace him with. And I always said, well, yeah, maybe there is. But show me that player before Herrera walks out the door. We never replaced him. So all these people who are like, we should have let De Gea go and got Oblak. Yeah, you know what you would have ended up with? Romero. And we wouldn't have replaced him. And the Glazers would have been walking around with even bigger pockets. We don't do efficient things like that. We don't let good players go and then replace them with better. We are a football club that really should be desperately trying to retain what we've got, because there's so much uncertainty now about replacing players. Whether it is Herrera, whether it is Fellaini, whether it is Lukaku, whether it is Sanchez on loan, we don't replace the players. So keeping David De Gea, who is one of the world's best goalkeepers as well, that's the most important thing. He is one of the world's best goalkeepers. We're not even one of England's best teams, and we've got one of the world's best goalkeepers now on a long-term contract. Whatever you think about United, whatever you think about the future of Manchester United, that is a real big positive for us to be able to retain and keep long-term one of the world's better goalkeepers. It gives us a platform to grow on. And I think in Wan-Bissaka, we've got one of the world's best right-backs incoming. He's fantastic. In Maguire, I think we've got definitely England's best centre-back. And then you've got Lindelof and Shaw and De Gea behind them, and you can build it into something. Build the midfield, build the attack. But the platform has been set down now by Manchester United. And, I agree there are reasons to be concerned. But yesterday, or Saturday, or whenever you're watching this, David De Gea kept a clean sheet. And David De Gea kept a clean sheet not only because of the 2 great saves he made, but also because the defence in front of him shielded him. And if we start to get more clean sheets now because we've got a stable De Gea and a stable defence, then, yeah, look, it's not ideal with the midfield and the attack, but at least we can build on those areas. So I think this is massive. I know a lot of people like Romero. I expect Romero will probably play in the Europa League. I don't know whether I agree with that or not. But with Romero, sorry about this with the lighting. It's a bit of a pain actually. I should have done a little bit better with the lighting today. But with De Gea, it's I've turned into Casper the Friendly Ghost. I've gone all Illuminati. Yeah, with Romero, I think if Romero played in goal week in, week out for Manchester United, you would see what my concern is with Romero, and that is that he's a good backup goalkeeper, arguably the best backup goalkeeper in the Premier League, but as a week-to-week goalkeeper, I think you'd see his limitations, as we saw against Wolves back in March. But bringing it back to De Gea, absolutely ecstatic about this. It's a shame it's taken so long. I think it has impacted us on the pitch. I think this is time and time again we see this, and they've got to stop doing it, but I don't think they will, because those people who don't understand why Manchester United let contracts run down, if you imagine David De Gea has been on a contract, and I don't know what he was on before the contract's renewal, but imagine David De Gea was on 200 grand a week, right? 2 years ago, he's like, I want a new contract. I want 350 grand a week. United are like, well, if we give him that new contract now, we're increasing that 200 to 350 grand. That's 150 grand extra a week for 2 years that we don't need to pay. I know, let's barter with him. Let's wait right till the last minute, and then we're saving ourselves 150 grand a week. Even though he fully deserves that contract renewal, we'll disrupt that player to save ourselves that extra money week on week, and then we'll renew right at the last possible moment. That's what United do. And people moan about transfers and they go, oh, we didn't buy them a midfielder, we didn't do this, we didn't do that. And I totally agree with that. But you need to open your eyes to Manchester United's, I would say, vulgar way of contract renewals, to be honest. It's not a football club. It's not a football club. You look at what Man City do. You look at what Liverpool have done. Liverpool didn't spend a lot of money in the summer because they've spent a lot of money on contract renewals with people like Van Dijk. Van Dijk's only been there 18 months. He didn't sign an 18-month contract. He's been there 18 months and they've renewed his contract because they want to keep him long term and they value him and they've increased his wages. That is an absolute... I wish I'd said this at the start actually. The way Liverpool and Man City do it, but the way Liverpool do it is a prime example. You sign Van Dijk, 18 months later, you reward him with a new contract because he's been brilliant. That's what a proper football club does. Manchester United, we give David De Gea a contract. He is superb, he deserves a new contract, and we abuse him by letting it run down, and then it impacts on him on the pitch. It's disgusting. The way we renew and value our players, it's disgusting, and it's all about saving money. That's all Manchester United Football Club is about. At the top end of the football club, it's all about saving money, and that is why David De Gea is in this situation where we're like, when's he signing? And literally he's into the last year of his contract before he gets what he should have got a year or two ago. But we don't do it because we want to save money. So we abuse the player, we knock their confidence, and we end up last season with David De Gea, in and out of form because obviously he's uncertain about his future. It's not good enough. It's not good enough, and it doesn't get spoken about enough because people don't understand it or they don't really think it's that important. But you look at what Man City and Liverpool do. They don't care whether De Bruyne has got 3 years left on his contract. They'll give him a new one because they want him valued. They want him performing on the pitch. United, they don't care about that. They're like, well, yeah, but if we wait right to the last minute, we might piss the player off. He might not perform well on the pitch, but hey, Ed and the Glazers, we've saved ourselves a load of money. It's not good enough. It's not good enough, and it does need highlighting. But fortunately, on this occasion, we haven't forced the player out the door. He has stayed. And I've got to say, smash a like on the video for Dave stays because he's free in January. He would have been free in January. There's loads of clubs that would have took David De Gea on a free. He would have made himself a very, very rich man. So to stay at Manchester United, I heard somebody say, oh, it's because he hasn't got any options. David De Gea, free next summer. And anybody would take him. Like, even Man City would take him as a backup. Like... But he would go somewhere that would play him, whether it's Juventus need a goalkeeper. Juventus would have took him, and he would have made a lot of money. So David De Gea staying at Manchester United, for all these people who say, oh, he's just staying for money, you really don't understand the reality that David De Gea is an £80 million goalkeeper that would have been available for free in the summer. Juventus are playing Aaron Ramsey £350,000 a week. That's what De Gea wants now from United. That's the contract he's going to sign. So what would Juventus have paid De Gea next summer with no transfer fee? They probably would have given him $500,000 a week. So it's not about money. It's about David De Gea wanting to be at Manchester United Football Club. And I think that's a real positive. So De Gea wants to be here. That was always the issue. It was whether De Gea wanted to be here. That was why going into the summer, a lot of us were like, he'll probably go. he clearly wants to be here, and I think it's a real positive for United. Thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video for Dave Stays. Really, really good signing. We got there in the end. It's not Dave's fault. And yeah, we've got one of the world's best goalkeepers. I now hope he can get back to being the world's best goalkeeper because of all this contract stuff. I believe that's why he's been a bit inconsistent for the last year. Thanks for watching. I'll speak to you all soon.